Welcome to the Market Wrap on Bloomberg Quint Live. Let's take a look at what the markets have done today and what they've done through the course of the week. Starting off with today, the Nifty did advance, did show a lot of strength, up by around 0.7%, and were gains from some very unusual volatile counters, which would include something like a Yes Bank, Sun Pharmaceutical, Z Entertainment, as well as IndusInd Bank. A lot of these companies have been extremely volatile, and there has been a little bit of a reversal of sorts, including something like Tata Steel, Vedanta Steel, and JSW Steel. So a lot of metal companies as well advancing in today's day of trade. On the losing end, we have weakness in Bharti Airtel, Coal India, Eicher Motors, and ONGC. But let's take a look at the broader markets. And once again, it's the likes of J&K Bank, Reliance Power, Vodafone Idea advancing in trade. Recovery once again for some of these companies which have seen a lot of declines. On the other hand, Reliance Communication continues to weaken further, as is the case for Edelweiss Financial Services, Coffee Day, as well as Jet Airways. So watch out for some of these names. But what have these markets done as far as the week is concerned? Let's take a look at that as well. 1.8% advance for the benchmarks, along with Britannia, BPCL, and Z Entertainment leading the gains. On the losing end, we have Indiabulls Housing Finance, which will move out of the Nifty 50. Hero MotoCorp, Bharti Airtel, and Kotak Mahindra Bank showing some weakness. Also, when it comes to the broader markets, we have the likes of Minda Corp, SL Propack, Bombay Dyeing all advancing in trade. And of course, on the losing end, you have the likes of Cox & Kings. Once again, Reliance Communications showing up on that list. Shankara Building Products and Shilpa Medicare under pressure. But as we move into the next week, let's talk about some of the events that may influence, or rather, let's talk about the events that have influenced markets. So, first up on Monday, August 26th, the RBI announced that it will transfer a surplus of a little over 1.8 lakh crore rupees to the government in accordance to the Jalan Committee recommendations on the central bank's economic capital framework. And on Tuesday, August 27th, Reliance Jio's market share, revenue grew at the slowest pace since it started charging users, even as the telecom services providers added subscribers to become India's largest operator. On Wednesday, August 28th, among a slew of announcements about foreign direct investments, the government said that now about 100% FDI will be allowed in coal mining, while also easing local sourcing norms for single brand retail companies, providing relief to foreign brands like Apple and IKEA. And Nestle India is set to return to the Nifty 50, as I've already mentioned, after 16 years, replacing mortgage lender Indiabulls Housing Finance from September 27th. Bad news for Yes Bank, as Moody's Investor Service downgraded the bank's long-term foreign currency issuer rating to non-investment grade and kept the outlook as negative. And on Thursday, August 29th, RBI's annual report showed that the central bank's total income was more than doubled in 2018-19, allowing it to transfer a significantly higher surplus of 1.2 lakh crore rupees to the government. And of course, CG Power's board has removed Gautam Thapar as chairman after an investigation by a legal firm unearthed governance and financial lapses at the company. And SEBI has exonerated 3 former senior executives of the National Stock Exchange from the allegations of dereliction of duty in providing preferential access to some brokers and traders through the co-location service, but it asked the boss to initiate action against the two. And finally, SL Group will sell the 205 megawatts of solar farms to Adani Green Energy at an enterprise value of 1,300 crores, and the transaction will be complete by the 15th of October. That said, let's also take a look at all the levels that we can watch out for as we move into trade next week based on open interest changes. Well, it was a very volatile day of trade, and we did have very sharp up moves as well as down moves on the Nifty 50 today. Based on that, as we move into the new expiry, we are keeping an eye on 10,800 on the lower end. That is where your support is, and around 10,200 on the higher end. That's where you will see some amount of resistance, at least in the near term. That said, there are a bunch of things that we need to keep an eye on, starting off with today itself. In just a few moments from now, we will have Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, which is set to brief with the media, and if the reports are to be believed, the state-run banks merger will be on the list. And we'll also watch out for GDP data. India's GDP growth is expected to slow down further to around 5.7 in the first quarter, according to a Bloomberg poll. And GVA and fiscal deficit data is also expected today. But moving on to next month, manufacturing PMI for the month of August will be out on Monday, September the 2nd. And finally, on Wednesday, September 4th, we will have services and composite PMI for the month of August as well. So some of the other cues out there to keep an eye on as far as the macroeconomy is concerned. Well, lots to watch out for. But on that note, it's a wrap on the markets, but there's lots of coming up. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint.